everyone, this is Jamaica 5288 and today we're going to make celery salt. You don't have to buy it at the store, you can make it yourself. Just get a bunch of celery, wash it off, and I'll tell you the rest later. But first, please like and subscribe, or subscribe and like. I'll wait. Okay, let's get started. So the first thing I did was washed off the celery in the sink, and then I put it over here on the board. While doing that, I filled up a pot of water, and I'm gonna bring that to a boil. In the meantime, we're gonna chop this thing up and put it in a bin, and then we're going to submerge it in the water for approximately 3 minutes. Let's get started. Okay, so we're gonna cut these celery up and I'll put it in here. I don't think I'm gonna use this to submerge it. I'm gonna get one of my strainers and use that. The water is almost to a boil. So first things first, make sure you wash your celery off and get all the debris off in the stalks. You don't wanna have dirty celery. And then we're just gonna chop it up. Into pieces that can fit into the dehydrator. This is your chance to get it to the size you want. Like this size, I think that's too big, so I'm gonna split that in half. And there's a couple of other ones I wanna dice up a little bit. And the only piece I'm not gonna use is the very bottom of the celery. Celery, they say that you can replant this, but I've never had any success in doing it. So, I'm just gonna cut it all up. I'll just get another celery stalk. Maybe I'll try next time. And then if it works, hey, I know how to regrow celery, huh? So let me get 2 stalks because this process is moving a little bit too slow for me. Take off your leaves. Do not throw your leaves off. We're gonna process those also. So I'm cutting off the bad parts. I don't want those. So if you see any that look like this, that's burnt on the end or look like they're going bad, just cut that off. And then we're gonna use our bottom to, let me move this out of the way so y'all can see the board, huh? We're gonna cut the bottoms off because that's the rough part. We don't want that. So here we go. Make sure y'all can see, huh? Let me just move these up. Try to get even. Now, the reason why I have water going on is because we're gonna blanch these pieces of celery before we put them in the dehydrator. And the dehydrator is behind me. I'll pull it forward once we're ready to use it. You can buy a dehydrator for approximately $30 at several stores. I'm not gonna name any stores because they're everywhere. You get them online everywhere. They're not hard to get, and they're not hard to use. And the one I have is a little bit loud. I think, what was it? It's a Presto. I have a Presto. I guess that's my favorite brand, apparently. Or that's what I have around here. So it works fine. It just takes a long time. And if you are worried about, if you don't like a lot of noise, put it somewhere that you don't have to hear it. Because it makes I don't know, a rumbling noise that is annoying to some people. So you just put it somewhere that you don't have to hear it. Put it in the room or in the garage or somewhere that you don't frequent in your house. So I'm gonna take the bottoms and I'm gonna take that apart. I'm gonna take that off and throw it to the side. And then I'm gonna gather up my celery stalk and put that in this pot right here that you are not looking at. There it is. I'm putting it in the pot. So here we are. Oh boy. So here we go. I'll cut off the bad part. See that? You don't want that. And I want the leaves, so I'm gonna cut that off, but then I'm gonna cut off this little piece here, these little burnt ends. And I am just going to, let me get another one. One is not enough. I need to do it. My water is bubbling, but it's not boiling yet. The reason why I'm cutting off the leaves is because the processing time for the leaves is 1 minute. The stalks are 3 minutes. You blanch the stalks for 3 minutes and the leaves for 1. Leaves are more delicate. We're not trying to cook the celery. We're just trying to blanch it. And that's how you get most of your vegetables. Like in the frozen food department, those vegetables are blanched. It helps to preserve them. So they do that so they don't, they last longer, even in the frozen foods. So let me take this leaf off. And I'm going to chop those up also. But this, this is not going to take me long. And after I dry them out, and that'll probably be later on today, because it takes a while for them to process, if not tomorrow. I'm going to get them completely dry, and then I'm going to grind them up. And that's how you get your celery salt. Now, why would I want to make celery salt? Well, celery salt is a natural nitrate, and it helps in the preservation of meat. Move the pot out the way so y'all can see my hands. Yeah, so it helps in the natural preservation of meat. So instead of using #1 or #2 salt, which a lot of people don't like because they say it's full of nitrates, you can use celery. Because celery does the same thing, except it's not. It's natural. Take that off. And cut this down. Let's put that in there. Put that in there. Let me get another bowl for these leaves. So they have their own space because they are encroaching on my cutting area. They're like, I'm taking over this. I'm taking over. I'm bigger. Okay, so I'm going to pull the leaves off. Again and again and again. There we go. It's funny how we have things that are natural that do the same thing as a chemical. It seems, example, if you're a vegan, why would you want something that is not natural? Or like sugar. I mean, well, I know that a lot of vegans have some of them like a lot of sweets. That's all I'm saying. And I think that's because it gives them energy. But sugar is processed. Sugar has chemicals in it. So if you're going to do it and try to be as natural as possible, try to find alternative ways to cook, preserve, and eat your and develop the things that you enjoy without using chemicals. Now, I'm not saying that you cannot totally avoid chemicals or plastic. They're here and they're here to stay. So, you just do your best. I'm not judging anyone, but if there's something natural that can replace a chemical substance, do it, because your body can process this celery. Your body can process celery. The chemicals, on the other hand, may not be the same, may not react the same in your body. Most of the time, it hurts you. But they're developing all of these, beyond, well, I'm just going to say fake meat. And they're supposed to be vegan, but they have all kind of chemicals in there to make that stuff work. It's not good for you. So just check your labels, and if you can, just do it yourself. Then you know that this, if you see this come out of the ground, you know it's celery and not something else. Because I've seen documentaries on how they try to make fake food look real to people. Not a good thing. And it looks real. You'll never know. Rice and everything else. I don't know how true it is because I haven't seen it with my own eyes, but I did see it on television. Sometimes television lies to you, and sometimes they're telling you the truth, and we choose to ignore it. So, just try to do it yourself. I'm going to try to grow some celery so I don't have to buy it anymore. But do it yourself. This one doesn't look too good, so I'm not going to use it. Do it yourself, and the more natural it is, the better it is for your overall health. Here we are. Celery. I did this a couple of times before, and celery salt tastes good. I don't know where the salty taste comes from, but it's good. It's almost better than salt. Almost. I gotta do. I try to. Me and salt have a love-hate relationship. I know it's not good to use a lot of salt, but salt and sugar combine flavors or enhance flavors. So using them is one of the things, you know, the evils that we've become accustomed to. Some people have cut sugar out of their lives. I'm talking about the processed sugar, not the sugar that you get when you eat a piece of fruit. That's natural. So you have to have some sugar, but it's not good. Anything in abundance is not good for you. And anything that has a bunch of chemicals in it is definitely not good for you. So watch yourself. When they say, you know, vegan, no meat. It says no meat. Meatless? Nah. Please check the label. Check and recheck. Or do it yourself, and then you don't have to check as much. Because there are some companies out there, there's a percentage of chemicals that if it's underneath a certain percentage or decimal point, they don't have to report it. Another reason why I want to start growing celery is because of those, the grocery store has those sprayers that they spray over everything to include the organic vegetables. I don't know if it's water or chemicals to preserve it, but I don't like it. Don't like it. Freaks me out. So let's keep on going. Cut the bottom off. Throw that to the side. Make sure I get it into pieces that can fit into my dehydrator. My water looks like it wants to boil over on me. It looks like it's threatening me. We'll see. It's just water, so I can wipe it off. Not worried about that. Not worried. Not like food waste that gets on the stovetop. So I got my celery stalks cut up. I think I'm just going to leave the leaves be and not cut them up because they're more delicate and they're going to flake easier. They're going to dehydrate easier also. Okay, that was my last piece of celery. Now, look at this. Doesn't this look abundant? After we get it out the dehydrator, it's going to fit in a little bitty jar. It's going to shrivel down to nothing. So, let me throw my trash out and wait. We're going to wait for the water to boil, and I'll be right back. And we're rolling, rolling, rolling like a river. Left a good job in the city, working for the man every night and day. Okay, that's enough. I love Tina. We're going to submerge it. Try not to make a mess, Jamaica. And once it starts boiling, which it never stopped, 3 minutes. We get another bowl. Get out, boy. We get another bowl. Out. And I'm going to take the ones that are done and put them in a bowl. Okay? After I wash it out. To stop the blanching process, I forgot to mention you have to put it in some ice water. So I'm going to take this bowl and fill it with ice. And we're rolling, rolling, rolling on the river. All right, I got a bucket of ice water because in approximately a minute and a half, we got to stop the blanching process for those pieces of celery. Put this up, I don't need it anymore. And we don't want the color to change. As I said, we are not trying to cook. We're not trying to cook this celery. We're just trying to blanch it. I know. I know fire. I know water. Y'all don't like each other. Direct opposites. Fire and water. Both of them need one thing. Air. Well, yeah, they both need air. Because the air, or the sky, makes the rain. It gives us water. Oh, it knows I'm talking about it. Apparently, it's like, I'm going to get you. 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 Okay, my time is up. Let me pull this one out. And I'm going to blanch it. On to the next. Let me get some of this water out before I scald myself. How about that? And we're rolling, rolling, rolling on a river. Okay, that's enough. I performed enough for you today. Thank you, thank you. I hear the applause. Let's put some more in there. No, I'm not going to do that. What we're not going to do is get scalded today. That's what we're not going to do. All right, I took about half. Submerge it 33 minutes. And it never stopped boiling. So they said that you need to have it at a boil for 3 minutes, but the pot never stopped boiling, so I just automatically started it. Let me pull you up so you can see my face in the pot. I'm talking and y'all just looking at a pot. Pull you back. There we are. That's a little better. I'm not the best cameraman. Let me pull you out so you're not looking at the countertop. And down. Better. Take this and throw it out. Don't need this anymore. I'll strain this out in a second. Yeah, I can do it now. It's already stopped the cooking process, so it's okay. I got 2 minutes left on that timer. I need to put some more ice in this water too. Okay. Let me dry them out. Help the drying process a little bit. Give the dehydrator some help. And I'm stepping on celery. It's on the floor. Okay, it's in the sink now. We got a minute and a half. So next time I make any kind of cured bacon or any kind of cured pork or beef, I'm going to try to use this to show you what the uses are for celery salt and how good they are for you. How easy it is to make. You see how easy it is to make. Besides, you know, the boiling water, it's not hard. It's just like everything else. It takes time. So, I prefer to spend my time doing things that's going to make my life better. I don't like wasting time. And I don't like people who waste my time. And I try not to waste other people's time. I feel very bad when I tell somebody I'm going to do something and not show up. Even though half the time when I show up, I don't want to come. I'm an introvert. I'm like, oh God, why did I say that? Why did I say I was gonna show up? No, I have to show up. I don't feel like going. Let me get some more ice. The scooper. There goes my 3 minutes. Time's up, celery. Time's up. Drain it out. Strain it out real good. Stop that annoying timer. Shouldn't call it annoying because I use it all the time, so I don't want to stop working. They give me bad karma. And let's do our last. Our water's turning green too. Do our last set. Last set, I'm gonna use the this thing. This is what belongs in there. So I'm gonna set my timer for 3 minutes. And we're gonna let that blanch. That's what we're doing. We're blanching the celery. So the reason why I stick it in the ice water is to stop the cooking process. So anytime you cook something, if you take it off the stove, it doesn't stop it. It doesn't stop it from cooking. That includes boiled eggs, anything, vegetables. In order to stop the cooking process, you have to break the heat that is already accumulated in the vegetable or in anything. And like an egg, if you want a soft boiled egg, which is basically not completely cooked, in order to stop the egg from cooking, you have to submerge it in ice water, or it becomes very hard. It becomes a regular or hard-boiled egg. So, word to the wise. Well, I know a lot of people like soft-boiled eggs, so we don't really have to worry about that. But if you don't want to overcook your eggs, that's the thing you have to do. You have to break the cycle of cooking. Bring the temperature down drastically. So, that's what we're doing. And that's a part of the process of blanching. Bringing the heat up and just taking it back down. Losing my celery. And if you look on my board, and I'll show you in a second up close, the color of the celery has not changed. It's still vibrant and green. Let me pour a little bit of this out so I can put some more ice water in here. The last thing we're going to do are the celery leaves, and that's just a minute. So that won't take us long. How much time do I have on here? 48 seconds. Okay, let me get some more ice. Ooh, 27 seconds. Counting the seconds. Okay, take this off, strain it, get as much hot water out of there as possible, pour it in my bowl. Come on. The other thing didn't give me this type of trouble. Turn that off. Next are the leaves. Get all these out. I don't want any cooked celery. So the leaves, move this over while it does its thing. The leaves, I'm just gonna stick them in there, and I'm basically gonna stick them in there and take them out. So drop them and make sure they're submerged. Make sure they're submerged. I put it on 45 seconds. They're already starting to wilt. Let me get this out. I'm just gonna get some more ice. Move quicker, girl. You have to move quicker. You have to move quicker. Time is running out. Your time is running out, Jamaica. Oh God, another song popped in my head. Time won't give me time, and time makes lovers feel. All right, there goes our timer. Let's pull this up. See how green that is? Let's get that in the cold water. Turn this off. Get that submerged to stop whatever's going on. Whatever molecules are still bouncing off of each other, I need you to slow down. Slow down, my dear. Slow down. Here we are. Moving you right over here with me. And I'm going to bring you down. All right. So I have my ice water here, right? And I have my leaves. And I have some of my celery root. Some of them are already done, but I need to put it in a dry pot or a dry area. So you know what I'm going to do? What I'm going to do is I'm going to reuse my strainer. Put these over here so they don't get wet again. There we are. Then I'm going to use this cloth again to get some of that water out of those vegetables that's in here. Make sure I don't pull any ice out. That's water. I'm not going to press it down. I just want to sop up the water. Okay, we're going to cut our frame and I will be back with the dehydrator. It's loud. I don't like noise, but I'm going to deal with it because I need some celery salt. Just a second. I have my celery rolled up here. I have my dehydrator. I have not started the dehydrator because once you plug it in, it starts. So I'm going to take this off, and I have a Presto dehydrator. I just bought it maybe a year or so ago. It might have been 2 or 3 years. I don't know. COVID was going on. I don't remember anything. It's all a blur. Don't judge me. So I'm going to take my racks apart. I have 4 racks in this dehydrator. Make sure I don't have any remnants. What did I cook in this thing? Bananas. Bananas was the last culprit. So I'm taking my racks and I'm going to put them aside. Right? I'll take one rack, put it in there. And I'm going to take the ones that are in the strainer and I'm going to put it in there. Hopefully they're not so small that they fall through the slots. And what I'm doing is I'm making a layer a layer of celery on each layer. And you don't want to pile it up on this thing. You want to spread it out. You want the drying time to be reduced as much as possible. See that? Some of them are really small. They're falling through. The cracks. No! All right, put those back. Put them on the next level. All right, so that is pretty much flat, right? And then what side? All right. And you can't mess up because on the other side of this thing, it has ridges, so you know that's the bottom part. I just can't remember which one goes first, but I'll find out in a second if I did it right. So we're just gonna sprinkle this around. Get all of my celery out, or all of these celery out. Make a layer. Let's open our towel of joy. Or towel of the rest of the celery. Make it too thin, and then I won't have enough. I won't have enough room for the rack. I don't have enough room on the racks. And this stuff is just going to be crunchy once you get it off of the once you get it off of this thing. After it dehydrates, it's going to be. I mean, you'll see. It's gonna be like crispy crunch. You ever had anything that just dried up? That's what this thing is gonna be. Dried up. That's what we want. Dry. That's how we preserve it. And that's how you make celery salt. Dried up celery. I imagine in the old days, before they had dehydrators, they just took the celery stalk and turned it upside down. But I'm not sure, but I'm, you know, based on, what do we have here? Y'all are not locking. You need to lock. All right. Based on some of the things I've seen on TV, that's probably the way they preserved it. I know that's how they do it in other countries. They turn meat, vegetables upside down and let them dry in the air. Actually, my mother, she still dries out. Well, she has mint, and she turns it upside down and let it dry out, or she lays it down on a cloth outside and let it air dry in the sun dry. So that's what some people do. The olden way. The olden days where there weren't, people didn't have as much access to electricity, they still did this. We have become spoiled and forgotten how to do things the old ways. We might have to go back to them because things ain't looking right around here. Everybody's a little afraid. You could see it. Don't know what's going on. Don't know what to do. Just trying to keep your head above water. All right. I actually have a little bit on this one. I put too much on the bottom shells. Get some of these off. Get some of this off. Spread the joy. Spread the joy amongst everyone. Then the top ones will dry and the bottom ones will be still wet. No. I should have just used all four of them and laid them out. But that's okay. That's okay. Don't drop it, Jamaica. When you drop it, I'll start crying in front of y'all. Start crying. Yeah, this one's empty. Empty. Put you down here. Get some of this off of here. Fill in the slots. Fill in the slots. Man, a movie just came into my mind. Remember Warriors? I think that was one of the first movies we got to see without our parents. A whole bunch of us went to the movie theater. And I remember saying, Warriors, come out to play. The only reason why we watched it is because it was based on Coney Island, and we were in New York, and Coney Island was like right down the block. From my cousin's house, we could walk to Coney Island, the actual Coney Island. He lived in Coney Island. Oh boy, those were the days. Those were the days. All right. This thing, there we go. Get all of my little remnants up. All of my little celery babies up. Put it in here. Now here comes the noise. This is the part I don't like. The only noise I enjoy is music. That's about it. Okay. Here we are. Here's the dehydrator lid. Make sure that thing goes on. See, it's moving about, which means I have them backwards. So I'm gonna take this one up and put that one on the bottom. Put this one on top. Restack them. Nice and snug. And you'll know that this thing is not, here it is. It's not snug because it's gonna make more noise if it's not snug. If it's not on there right, it'll tell you. So let me move this out. Not drop my Arlo. And there's the white noise that I hate so much. And it'll be going for hours. So I'll see you in a couple of hours. For you, it'll be a couple of seconds. This thing will probably be going about 8 to 10 hours with this noise going. I'll try to ignore it for the celery salt's sake. So I'll see you in a second. For me, it'll be 8 to 10 hours away from now on. The way you check is you lift this thing up. Of course, unplug it, lift it up. Check your celery to see if it's crunchy. If it's done, if it's not, just keep it. Put the plug it back in and keep it going until it's dry. Dry. You don't want any moisture in this celery when you pull it out of here, because when you bottle it, if there's any moisture, it'll get moldy. Dry as a chip. See you in a sec. So it's been a couple of hours, about 8 hours to be exact, and my celery is dry, finally. This is a coffee grinder that I cleaned out, so hopefully I got all of that. I try to get as much of the smell or the residue out of the coffee grinder as possible. I don't want my celery to taste like coffee or cinnamon, because I grinded cinnamon in here also. So I wiped it out real good. Let's keep our fingers crossed. So I'm gonna put the stuff in here. I'm stuffing it. The leaves are really dry, and in between the drying cycle, I switched the trays around so that the bottom went to the top and the top went to the bottom. Just trying to get everything dry. I knew the leaves would dry, but it's the stems I was a little bit concerned about. They always take a little bit longer, and it seems like some of them, well, a lot of them fell to the bottom. So I got my coffee grinder filled. I'm gonna plug this in. Watch my big old arm in your way, and I'm gonna grind it up. To dust, ashes to ashes. I'm not gonna say that. Let me not use the biblical terms to grind for grinding celery. So let's keep on putting celery in there. Try to get it all off. There we go. Take this and put it to the side. Some more celery in here. Celery salt. So that's exactly what it is. And I'm gonna go and get some kosher salt from up in the cabinet, which is very pure salt. Either that, or I would recommend that, or Himalayan salt, 100% pure salt. and half and half. Half celery, a tablespoon of celery powder, and a tablespoon of salt. And that's how you make celery salt. First, we got to get this stuff out of here, though. That's the part. That's the interesting part, trying to get it up off these trays. It's like little barbed wires. They're really sharp. Okay, let's get this thing off. Get them off. So I get it on the bottom tray. Get them on the bottom tray. Okay. That's where most of them ended up, down here on the bottom. Look at that. Isn't that pretty? I think it is. It's different colors of green. Green used to be my favorite color. Now it's more yellow. No, my color, the colors I like change. Okay, ooh, that looks really good. It looks really delicious. Ooh, and it smells good. The celery powder is puffing up in my face, and I can smell it. It smells like celery, if that was a smell. It is a smell, but not normal. Not something I'm accustomed to smelling. It smells like fresh celery. Okay, come on, let's move this down. Get all the dust. Get it all in there. Okay. Okay, it sounds different, which means it's all crushed. I'm gonna take my racks and my trays and put them to the side. Now I'll be right back when I get some salt, and I'm gonna get a little jar and show you what we're gonna go from there. I know you can't see my face, but you'll see me in a second. So I just wanted to identify the different types of salt you can get. Now there's one here that I have that says sea salt, right? And I'm gonna look on the back and make sure that the only ingredients on here is sea salt. So that's okay. And this one is a fine crystal. They have a coarse crystal. Then they have kosher salt. And guess what kosher salt is? Sea salt. No added ingredients. That's what you want. Just regular salt. No added ingredients. But if you look at this one, it says quality salt. And we turn to the side, it says salt. And then it says yellow pulsate. I don't know. What is it? Prussate of soda. So this one has some kind of preservative in it. So we do not want to use this type of salt for this concoction. So sea salt, what I want to use is the purest form of salt. So this is fine crystal. I have one up there that's in a red bottle that's coarse. And the kosher salt is a coarse grind of sea salt. So I'm not going to use that, and I'm not going to use this one at all because this one has additives in it. So let's open this thing up. Okay, so this is the side I want to use, and then I'm going to get a spoon. So I'm going to do a teaspoon at a time. So I'm going to take a teaspoon of my powder, right? Put it in the jar. Then I'm going to do a teaspoon of salt. And remember, there's no caking agent in this salt, so it's going to cake up on you, okay? So just have patience and work with it. And I'm going to do another teaspoon of my powder. About a heaping teaspoon. And do a heaping teaspoon of salt. Just a little bit more. Okay. Keep on doing it. Teaspoon of the green stuff, the celery, that used to be celery. Wow, and I have more on here. See if I can get it to come down. All right. And some salt, a heaping teaspoon of salt. Maybe if I switch hands. I'm a lefty, so let me see. Let me see if this will work better for me. Yep. Legs works like a charm. The world is backwards for me. All right, I'm going to get some more celery salt. Some more celery, excuse me. Knock that off. Put that on top. Get some more salt. Put that in. So you don't have to buy celery salt, because I looked at it in a little itty bitty jar. It was like $3.29. That was months ago. You don't have to do that. And this is what I'm going to use in my curing process from now on, because celery salt or celery has nitrates in it. So I don't have to use #1 curing salt for the curing process. You can try this. That. That. And I'm just going to pour the rest of it in here. And I need to unplug that. And put some more salt. There we go. So I got all my salt and my celery mixed, and I'm just going to shake it up. There you have it, celery salt. The celery cost me maybe $1.29, and the salt, I just used a little bit of it, so this was like, I think $3. But I've only used like maybe maybe an ounce out of 26 ounces. There you go. Thank you for joining me on this adventure with celery salt. So we're going to use that in a curing process for some meat that I have put aside. But while you're here and we're still talking, you and I, you know, we're friends now. Can you like and subscribe? I can never get that right. Can you like and subscribe? And I'll see you when we use that celery salt. You can use it in seasoning, but it's primarily made, well, in my case, to preserve meat instead of using regular nitrates. I'm gonna use a natural one. They say that you can use asparagus, arugula, and celery because they have natural nitrates that help preserve meat. So you don't have to use the chemical stuff. So I'll see you soon. And remember, take care of yourself and take care of each other. Bye.